All right. You sometimes have something that's a strength, and the Cleveland Browns have a strength in their defensive line. Like, there's a lot of talent there, but many teams are afraid to become even better. Sometimes you have a position of strength that you want to be even better in that position of strength. All right. And I'm going to go back with you. If you're not familiar with this channel, we are Lions fans. You see the Lions stuff back there. We have another channel, Sports Talk Detroit, but we started this channel because simply we love the NFL. Like, we love the NFL, and we love teams that the national media ignores, and we have a kinship with the Browns, Erie brothers, right? So here's the deal. Jim Schwartz, your defensive coordinator, used to be our head coach. And when he was our head coach, we had a phenomenal defensive line. In fact, everything revolved around that defensive line. Vanden Bosch was on there. Ndamukong Suh, Nick Fairley, right? I mean, like, there was a lot of talent on that defensive line, and that is why we had such a good defense in 2014, because our defensive line was phenomenal. It looks like Jim Schwartz is trying to recreate that at an even higher level with the Browns, and Andrew Berry is here for it, and so is head coach Kevin Stefanski. Now, this is the third new hire that you've had. We'll go over all of them in this video. But there's a report that the Browns are hiring a new defensive line coach. This just came out a couple hours ago, this morning. All right. And current defensive line coach status is up in the air. So who did they hire? Jacques Caesar. All right. So this guy, you see him right there. All right. Played many years in the NFL. He was a good player, but here's what I absolutely love about it. What he did with the Houston Texans. All right, the Houston Texans on their defensive line. We talk about this team. I know that's the team you lost to. I get it. All right, but we talk about guys like Jonathan Greenard, right, who just had arguably his best season in the NFL. He just arguably had his best season in the NFL. Will Anderson Jr. Had a great rookie year. He won the PFWA, Pro Football Writers of America, Defensive Rookie of the Year. He got considerably better from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, and this is the man who was in charge of doing it. Now, they already have a defensive line coach. That's the interesting thing about this. They already have a defensive line coach, but Ben Bloom, who is the current defensive line coach, I'll show it to you in the article here, is they expect Caesar to be the new D-line coach. Ben Bloom, though it isn't final, may still have a role on the defensive staff. Here's what I love about the hire. Former player. All right, I got quiet there for a second. Former player who has NFL coaching experience. He's a 9-year NFL vet, and he coached the D-line for the Texans over the last 2 years. All right, let's find a theme here. All right, not too many days ago, the Browns were set to hire Deuce Staley. All right, Deuce Staley is fiery. This guy is crazy, right? And he keeps moving around as a running backs coach, and I think there's going to be a time where he gets to take the next step. I hope. This guy was loved in Detroit. I can't speak to what it was in Carolina, all right, but he is the epitome of a former player and a competitor as a coach. It's fantastic what he does. He did a great job research, like, I'm telling you right now, a lot of it is the scheme. Don't get me wrong in Detroit. But Jamal Williams had by far his best year. This is great news for Jerome Ford. But what's the theme so far? Defensive line coach, former player. Running backs coach, former player. Right? Let's keep it going. The report that I completely missed. I'm so sorry, right? We want to be your go-to source for Cleveland Browns news and football, and I missed this. All right, Browns to hire former Notre Dame and Alabama coach for their offensive staff. Tommy Rees. This dude was the offensive coordinator for Alabama this year. He was the OC for Notre Dame. He was a quarterback. All right, I'm not saying he played at a high level in the NFL. That's not what it was. All right, that's not what it was, but to hire Tommy Rees as a tight ends coach. So here's the beautiful thing about this. Early on in the coaching cycle, right after they lost, my big thing, and I mean, this is my big thing, and I was kind of centering it around Deshaun Watson, but it's also for the team in general, was they needed to hire more former players as head coaches. This is a trend that's starting to happen in the NFL. It's in Detroit like crazy. We might be setting the trend market on it. But these former players who can see it. Kevin Stefanski is a very good coach, whether you want to hear it or not. He was nominated. He's in the top 4 for head coach of the year. Like, you can't say he's not a good head coach. It's not just by luck that you went 11-6 while your entire team was injured. Like, he's a good head coach. Jim Schwartz is a good, if not great, defensive coordinator. Okay? Here's the thing about those guys, and I'm not saying they didn't have their own level of play, but they aren't that understand the grind as former players do. So when you have those good coaches that you don't want to get rid of because they are very good coaches, but then when you're able to have former players in the trenches, in the meeting rooms, in the war rooms, with the running backs, with the tight ends, with the defensive line, that's what you want to see. That's what you want to see. Look at quarterbacks and the resurgence of their careers or the beginnings of their careers when they get another quarterback in there, a former quarterback, as their quarterback's coach. I think of Jared Goff in Detroit. He got Mark Brunell. Mark Brunell, after being in the NFL, took a year or two off, and then he was coaching high school football for 10 years. High school football. And then the Lions bring him in as quarterback coach. I look over at San Francisco. I look at Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy was good. But like Brian Griese, bringing Brian Griese in as the quarterback's coach, are you kidding me? Dude took off. Like, the ability to see the field, the ability to read what's going on, that's the next step for the Cleveland Browns, in my opinion, is who's your quarterback coach going to be? And it could be your offensive coordinator too. Are you going to be able to find a way to bring a former player in to do that? This is a very good change in direction for the Cleveland Browns. I can't even begin to tell you how good of a change of direction this is. I'm a firm believer in this. I've seen the change with the Detroit Lions. I've seen the change with the Houston Texans with DeMeco Ryans as their head coach. We've seen former players that make it to head coaches, and it's just a different understanding of what the player needs throughout the week and what practice looks like. It's really, really cool. So there you go. I thought I'd throw a video out there. I know it's hard to get back in all right, what do we got going for the offseason? Your coaching staff, with the cap that you have and the limited draft picks, your coaching staff is the best possible way you have to make important changes and get better in this offseason. All right, hope you like the video. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. See ya.